is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I kind of like starting the video off in the garage. In previous videos I never had a garage like this, so this is pretty insane. It's a beautiful 3-car garage. A little messy now because we just moved in, but today is not about that. Today is about getting this car non-fishbowl. So we're gonna drive up to Orlando and we're gonna be meeting up with Alligator Window Tint. And the reason why I'm going up there is because he's one of the best window film installers in Florida. So hands down, guy knows what he's doing, does a really good job. And we can discuss a lot of that when we go up there. And we're also gonna be meeting up Tauzins, and he's been on the channel for a little bit. And we're gonna be kicking up with him and also Alligator Window Tint and getting this basically tinted out. So I'm actually excited, so check it out now. So as you can see, the fishbowl look is pretty decent, but after a while, like, it looks good because you get to see the carbon fiber seats through the window and everything. But after a while, I think this car is gonna look a lot better with, I think we're gonna do 20% all around, and the front windshield, just to protect the interior more and also give it a light smoke to it, we're gonna do 70% on the front windshield. But after all that, the car is gonna be completely done with Xpel. So again, everything 20% all around. And when we get up there, we'll talk to him, more information about, you know, the window film, why he chooses to use Xpel, why they're one of the leading window films out there, and also why it's so important to protect your leather and stuff like that, because, you know, people put random films on and it doesn't have the UV protection, and that's something that you want to look into if your car is not garaged, especially if your car is not garaged. All right, so let's head out right now because I'm supposed to be there by 9:30. So if I leave now, I'll be there by 9:30. All right, so I ended up getting 2 dozen donuts, as you can see right there, and a box of Joe, along with that stuff. Majority of the 2 dozen donuts is probably for me, to be honest. If you guys know me and you know this channel, I love eating, so those donuts are definitely for me. So what you're probably hearing right now is my new exhaust setup, and that's the video that I filmed yesterday. So if you haven't watched that video, definitely check it out. It's gonna be linked down in the description. But in a future video, we're gonna make that progression to a different step, just to give you guys a little bit more options out there and also to provide some more quality content for you guys. But we're just about to pull up to his house. We'll get settled in and we'll introduce Martin from Alligator Window Tint. And again, if you've been following this channel for a little bit, you may have seen him on way earlier episodes, and he's tinted my F80 M3, and that's another reason why I'm coming back out here to get this whole car done. We're here with Tauzins, John, and again, it's Martin, right? And in a little bit, we're gonna introduce him and also talk about window tinting, because I think this is a topic that you guys need to know and actually learn about it, and also see why Xpel Film is probably one of the best companies out there for your car. All right, guys, I'm interrupting this portion of the video to thank our sponsors, and that's coming from Simply Carbon Fiber. As you can see, Simply Carbon Fiber sent me over a pair of shades, and at first when I looked at these shades, I was kind of questionable about it. But I think the team over there knows me pretty well, because when I put them on today, I think they look pretty good. It gets me out of my comfort zone. This is something I normally wouldn't have bought for myself. I'd normally pick a little more conservative type of shades, but I think these look pretty good. And what's so good about these shades is that it's super ultra lightweight, and they're made out of carbon fiber. And it actually has UV protection on the lens, and which is kind of entailed into this video because we're talking about window tint. I do want to mention that they're having a sale. They're going to be offering 30% for their 8th anniversary. So congratulations to them for the 8 years anniversary. But if you want to pick up anything from their website, you can use this discount code right over here. I'll leave more information down in the description. So I want to thank the team over there for sponsoring this video. Now let's jump back into the video and see how the progression of this window tint's gonna look. All right, guys, we're here at Alligator Window Tint's house, aka Martin, and the best thing right now what we're gonna do is finally get rid of the fishbowl. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, fishbowl is nice. You can see inside, right? You can see the carbon fiber seats.
The red over red.
I'm not gonna lie, the day before I moved out of my condo, I was washing my fiance's car, my wife's car, and
wife.
Wife. It's kind of a little difficult because we just got married.
Yeah.
But
I'm fighting that same.
You too, right? Because he just got married. Congratulations to Martin.
I say my girl just because I've always said that, and now all of a sudden she's like, "It's wife." I'm like, I know.
But my girl's like, still, it's a life hack maybe. So you can kind of see that instead of messing up. But I was washing my wife's car, and there was a guy that was walking by. Actually, was peeking hard in. So it's actually nice to showcase what the interior looks like. But you need heat rejection, right?
Yeah.
Because South Florida, the UVs that gets drilled into your leather and also your components. It's not good for it, especially if you live in a hot state. So Martin, you've worked with Xpel for how long now?
4 years.
4 years, and that's your true and proven product you use on all your clients' car, right?
Yep.
So what are we gonna do today?
So today, XR Plus is what we're gonna be using, but it's all 99% UV. So, you know, a lot of people wanna talk about, you know, the UV protection, and some people will talk ambiguously.
Yeah.
To kind of make it sound like you have to spend a lot of money for UV protection. And as a blanket statement, that's not necessarily true. Most films are going to be 99% UVA, UVB.
Okay.
Most.
What does that mean for people that don't know?
That's the UVA and UVB rays. It's going to reject or block 99% of those rays.
Okay.
And that's most. I fear to say all because someone will roast me and be like, "This film doesn't."
Exactly.
Most of the ones you're going to find, your Lumars, your 3Ms, your Xpels, your
Suntex.
Solar FX, Suntech, Autobahn, like most of the films you would actually want on your car are going to be 99% UV.
Okay.
What you spend extra money for is the performance factor.
Okay.
So how much heat the film blocks is what's going to then cost more monies.
Exactly.
So one of the better analogies that I use for this, or that seems to make sense, at least for car people, because everyone will then hear say, "Oh, well, I want the better quality film."
Yeah.
Well, I'm exclusive Xpel, so all my films Xpel, so it's all the same quality.
Yeah.
It's just how it performs and how much money that costs. So think about the C7 Corvette.
Yeah.
You got a Stingray, you've got a Z06, you've got ZR1.
Yeah.
And they're all the same quality because they're all Chevy Corvettes.
Yeah. We could say BMW. You get the 320i, then you get the 335, the 340i, then you get the M3.
What he said.
Yeah, exactly.
What he said.
Just so you guys know.
And it's all the same quality.
Yeah.
Because it's all made by the same manufacturer.
Correct.
The difference is the performance on what's under the hood,
Yeah.
and the more performance you want, the more you're going to spend. So it would kind of fall under that analogy.
Yeah.
So what we're going to be using is XR Plus. We're going to be in the 90s on IR heat rejection.
Yeah.
We're going to be in the 70% on a total solar energy rejection. The 99% on UVA, UVB rejection. And the reason that I say in the 90s, in the 70s is it's kind of the Wild West with window film.
Yeah.
As far as there's no standardized official, it blocks this. So when you start talking about infrared radiation reduction, there's frequencies like sound.
Okay.
Like, were you ever into car stereo?
Not really. Not really.
The bass heads will know, like, you know, when you start talking about 45 hertz or 55 hertz as far as your bass frequencies and how low or tight they hit.
Yeah.
The frequencies of heat from the sun are similar.
Okay.
And so a lot of people, when you start talking about IR heat rejection, whichever frequency is blocking the most IR, they're going to quote that as the IR heat rejection because it is true.
Okay.
It's just which frequencies are you paying attention to?
Yeah.
So the big number is the total solar energy rejection, but it doesn't sound as impressive, and so most places quote the IR numbers because it sounds better. And then if you've been calling around and you've been hearing 80s, 90s on IR heat rejection, and then I start off with 72 total solar, it sounds not as impressive even though it works better.
Gotcha.
So I try to focus on which rabbit hole you want to go down and how far down it do you want to go.
So basically you're telling the customer, what are you looking for as a customer? Performance, heat rejection, and what's your price range too? Because you get what you pay for, right?
True.
You get what you pay for, and he's mentioned that the film that we're using today is one of the best films that Xpel has out there. So you get what you pay for. This is going to give you the best performance, the best clarity,
Yes.
and I'm excited because driving on the turnpike here today, that sun was just blaring me on the left side of my face. I'm going to get a face tan this way.
Yeah, you look like Two-Face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so I see you basically applying what is that, a pad?
So for forming the window tint, so this is the thing where everyone's like, I thought it went on the inside. It does, but you have to form the window tint to fit the window that you're going to put it on. Window film out of the box is dead flat, so think about putting a sticker on a football helmet.
Yeah.
You're going to see all the bubbles. You've got to form it to fit the curvature of what you're going to install it on. I dry shrink. So this is a product called Dry Shrink Prep that my buddy Patrick makes. And what it does is it allows the film to dance on the glass and not stick to it.
Yeah.
So when you're forming it, it doesn't stick and crease.
Okay.
So that's the cause of it. But it has to be dry, and you put it on with water.
Okay.
So what my process is, I will prep the windows needed with the dry shrink prep, then go cut the film.
Yeah.
By the time I'm done cutting the film, this will be dry and ready to rock and roll.
Okay.
So in here, I use Xpel's DAP, their Design Access program, and it's got all the patterns. So what I've done is pulled up your G80 M3, and then it gives me all the patterns that I have available to do it. They've got shortcut, long cut. There's different reasons for that. You've got different options for the back window, different options for the windshield. And the reason you have different options for the windshield in here is for all the different sensor patterns that could be at the top of the windshield, basically around where your rearview mirror housing is. I did not know exactly which one your car was, so for your car, I already cut the windshield with no sensor cutout. So I'll lay that on, and then I'll just cut out the sensor manually. But I've selected your front doors right here. Select print, and it'll cut them in this pattern right here. So that way it kind of conserves the film, and then I can basically cut both on one door.
This is like this was never always around because technology has progressed, right? So this is like kind of like a cheat sheet, right, for kind of installers a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm sure all majority window installers have it, but this allows him to be more proficient and also saving film and also being able to be precise. And when there's times where he's going to have to go precise with the blade, like he explained before, he's going to get in there and you'll see it on film, and he's going to be able to make those custom cuts for those sensors. So Martin, one of the best traits about yourself, right, you're mobile, right? So for the people that don't want to leave their house, especially during these times of COVID and all that stuff, and also being able to work from home and actually have you come by, right, because you service the Central Florida area, right?
Yes.
I actually like that idea because it allows the busy professional to stay at home or stay at their office if there's a facility where they could kind of get it done at, where you come by and kind of get that done. So Martin,
Yep.
I know we're doing 20%, right, all
Correct.
around? And then 70% on the front windshield.
Correct.
What do you see more of? What's the most popular percentage everybody does that you've seen?
In Central Florida, the most common percent that I use is 15, because the legal limits in Florida are 15% darkness on the rear of the vehicle and 30% on the front doors. And so most people will want to use 15 because it's the darkest legal on the rear. And then there's plenty of people that don't care if the front doors are legal.
Yeah.
So they'll just put 15 all the way around. 20 is a percentage more commonly used if I'm matching factory privacy glass, like on a truck or an SUV.
Yeah.
Those are usually 21 to 24%.
Factory.
Typically, the factory dyed glass, which is not tint. People say factory tint because it's easier to say.
Is it smoked?
It's dyed privacy glass.
Okay.
So like, for example, if this was an X5,
Yeah.
no one's on the BMW production line installing window film on the rear of X5s.
As you can see, it takes time for that.
It's dyed glass.
Yeah.
It's just easier to say factory tint, but it's usually about 20%.
Okay.
So for matching privacy glass, 20%.
Okay.
Outside of that, the most common thing I use is either 30 or 15.
Okay. And the reason why I'm going with 20 is because I don't want to go too dark, and what's going to help the overall appearance is the front windshield, right?
Yep.
That 70% is going to make it a little bit more smokier all around.
It gives it a bit of a tinge, but generally speaking, if
Because what I noticed when taking photos, because I'm big into social media, right? Taking photos with the 70% front windshield, it allows me to see that it is tinted, but not overly darkly tinted. And I don't want that. That's too much attention from the wrong people anyway.
yeah.
All right, so Martin, you mentioned something I never even heard about. It's called reverse roll. What does reverse roll mean?
So reverse roll, with installing back windows, specifically windshields kind of also, there's basically two different methods. There's what's called Frankenstein or ape arm, when you'll see people pull the whole liner off the window in one shot and then pull the tint and kind of hold it out like this, like Frankenstein arms. So that's where that name comes from. So you'll see that, and then they'll drop it all in one piece. I use reverse rolling. I prefer it being mobile. I'm not always in as clean a garage as where I live. So with reverse rolling, what you do is you pull the liner back and then wet the adhesive. And this is what allows the film, the soapy water is what allows the film to slide along the glass while you're getting it into place before you squeegee it out.
And this is not the only method, right? There's many different
methods.
methods.
There's Frankenstein and reverse roll.
Okay.
But as you can see, I've got all the soapy water under here, but then I've put the liner back. So there's no dust, no contamination, no nothing getting on the adhesive side, which is what you'd see later.
But again, everybody has to find their own method if you're doing your own window film.
So
right?
for example, my cousin is a window tinter, kind of my inspiration for starting my business. He Frankensteins everything. I prefer reverse rolling. I've found that for me, I get far less contamination in a back window or a windshield when I reverse roll it, because now while I'm working and prepping, there's no dust or contamination getting in there. So the reason it's called reverse roll, so you see I sprayed underneath it. So now I'm going to roll it up, and then when I go inside the car, I will unroll it onto the glass.
And when he talks about contamination, when we get to the front windshield, we're going to talk about contamination. We're going to talk about what's the expectations, what people think, and what the myths are about that. So when we get to the front windshield, we'll talk about that, because it's something that you should know as a consumer, and also it allows people to watch this, understand the whole process, because it's not what you think.
So speaking of process, as I clean off this back window, you'll notice that the inside of the glass has soapy water on it. So part of my process that I do is I will clean the inside of the back window and scrub it down with a scrub pad and then leave it. And then after I leave it, then I come and I roll up my film, and then I clean off the outside of the glass so I'll be able to see where I'm at when I'm inside. Excuse me, let me get a towel.
Because I can tell you this, Martin, you and me, I clean my cars, but I do not clean the windows inside.
Right.
So
but even if you had the best glass cleaner in the world show up a half hour before me, I'm still going to do what I do, because the reason that I leave, as you can see, the soapy water on the inside of the glass, the reason I leave that until right when I go in is because the first thing, when I get in the car, I'm going to squeegee off this water and get that window perfectly clean and clear right before I spray it again to install it. And what that does, between the reverse roll and squeegeeing it right before I install it, it just lessens the chance of contamination.
And that's what people hate. And again, we'll talk about that when we get to the front windshield.
Yeah, but what I don't want to do is squeegee off this back window and then spray it for install, and then come out here and do all this prep work and then just let all that dust fly around inside the car. I'd rather do that as the very last step right before it's installed.